If anyone is doing dry January, I'm not saying I am. I might. I'm still, we'll see.
Stay tuned.
We'll see. I do intermittent sobriety. However, we did an episode about it at some point. I don't know. Look it up. It's at some point I did a whole.
Sometime in May, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on.
I can find it if you want.
No, let me find it.
All right.
I'll explain why off the air, Caitlin. I have neurotic reasons that I will look it up. So it was, episode 153. It was called Alcohol-ish, episode 153. And yeah, that was from April 26, 2023. Wow, Caitlin she's like Rain Man for dates. So if you want to hear my whole sobriety thing, that's episode 153. But basically, I gave up alcohol for more than a year as part of that book, the 30-day sobriety solution. Changed my life. So I gave up alcohol for more than a year so that I could just really be prepared to live a life without alcohol ever. And I got to that place where I was like, yeah, honestly, life is better without the substance. I truly don't care. And then in that space, sometimes I would have a drink socially. Now, of course, you tend to backslide a little bit. Hence the constant flow of Pims and lemonade into my body for all of December. But because I did that program and I did do more than a year of complete total sobriety, it's easier for me to get back on track now. I now have that mental muscle memory of just being able to go into that space where I neither need nor care about the substance. So if you think that alcohol is getting out of control in your life, definitely get that book and do it. Don't just read it. It's a journaling book. Actually do the prompts and the exercises. Cannot recommend it strongly enough. 30-day sobriety solution. I got it on Kindle so that nobody would see it sitting by my bedside like, wow, this explains why mom's a mess. You can get it on Kindle. And when you actually do the journaling, I did it so faithfully. I did not miss one day. Everything they asked me to do, even the stuff that didn't feel like it would be impactful, I did it all. Changed my whole life. And now when I go back into my seasons of drinking a bit too much, it's actually not that hard to just be like, I'm not drinking for 3 months. I'm just not. I don't care. So here's one of the things that I have learned if you are trying to get alcohol under control, or if you know someone who might be trying to do that, if they're doing dry January and it's hard for them. One of the things that I don't want to say we alcoholics, that might be a strong word to apply to myself. I'm an alcohol super fan, not an alcoholic. I'm just a super fan, occasionally going into stalking territory. One of the things that we alcohol super fans always worry about is if you are at a social function and other people are drinking, you don't want to be a killjoy. Now, for those of you who don't have an attachment to alcohol, you probably can't relate to this at all. You don't think this way. These kind of thoughts have never crossed your mind. But those of us who love this substance do think about this kind of thing. And so this was honestly a revelation to me when I realized that there are two types of people at a party: the alcohol superfans and the people who do not care about alcohol, or they're sober for whatever reason. They're either not drinking or they don't care about drinking. So let's just call them the sober crowd. So there's the alcohol superfan crowd and the sober crowd. The alcohol superfan crowd, they don't care if you are drinking. They only care if they get their drink. As long as you are not trying to stop them from drinking, you're not killing anyone's vibe. They might comment on it once. You can tell I have a lot of alcohol. I'm surrounded by alcoholics. Am I not? I mean,
a little bit.
Caitlin, we're not naming any names, but call to mind our social circles. Yeah. My socials. You know who I know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I attract
super fans.
Right. Super fans. Like teenage girl Backstreet Boys in 2001, real super fans of alcohol. So that's something I really should explain to you guys, that when I talk about doing sobriety, intermittent sobriety, you have to understand my house is alcohol central many days per week. And I don't mean, it's not crazy. It'll be like my husband, the neighbors will come over. The neighbors will have a beer. My husband will have 2 glasses of wine. Don't worry. You don't need to call the cops. You don't need to call CPS. But that is always there. Like there's not, there would never, we've lived in this house since 2007. There has never been like 7 consecutive days where alcohol has not been open in this house. Like not even close. Probably not 4 days. So when I tell you about my sobriety journey, you have to understand that this would be like climbing Mount Everest with a 500-pound barbell on your back. I was not in a situation where it was like, we'll just clear all the alcohol out of the house. Like, no, I get to watch everyone drink all the time. We have a very social house. Our street in general is kind of a hub of activity. It is actually how I met Caitlin, is she lived on this party street that we live on. So it's great, very social street, very village attitude among many of our neighbors, but not the easiest place to be sober. So I'm yelling again. I'm going to yell less in the new year. So let me tell you what I have learned as I'm the David Goggins of trying not to drink around people who drink. So here's what I've learned. As long as they get their drink, they don't really care. They might comment on it. They might say, Jen, why aren't you having a drink? But if you just say you're good, they really don't care. Now, this is the main thing I want to tell you. This whole segment is leading up to this. People don't care about alcohol as much as they think they do. They care about imbibing liquid from fancy glasses. This will be key to your sobriety. Listen to me very closely if you're trying to do dry January, or pass this on to anyone who is. People don't care about alcohol as much as they think they do. You don't care about alcohol as much as you think you do. You care about drinking things from fancy glasses. Take that water that you are sipping at the next party, pour it into a martini glass, add a squeeze of lemon, and watch how you feel a lot better about what you're drinking. I'm telling you, it is 60% the glass, even for us alcohol super fans. It is 60% the glass. I'm telling you. So if you feel like you're in a situation where you might be tempted to drink, make sure you will have access to a fancy glass. This also makes it much, much, much less likely that your alcohol super fan friends will pressure you to drink if they see you drinking something out of a fancy glass. Listen, if I show up to a neighborhood hangout with a bottle of water, I probably would get a little bit ribbed. Again, not serious pressure, just a little ribbing. Like, wow, Jen's all right, healthy living tonight. Gonna have some vegan kale chips. And then it would pass. But it would be noticed. Let's face it. And I actually think they're correct in that one. It is a little bit of a vibe killer. If people have this party, there's champagne, they're sampling whiskey, whatever, and you walk in with your bottled water, with your Dasani, like, come on, that's a little bit of a vibe killer. Get a nice Scotch kind of glass. Put one of those fancy round ice cubes in it, like Instagram is always trying to sell me. and I always see the point. I'm like, I do need a perfectly spherical lump of ice. That is what my life has been missing. Seriously, get yourself some perfectly circular ice. Put it in a glass. Pour your water into that. Add a squeeze of lemon or lime. Watch how suddenly nobody even asks what you're drinking. Because you know what it is? The glass and the garnish that is on the glass, it signals that you are there to have fun. The glass signals the type of fun you are ready to have. Think about this. A beer bottle, if you're drinking out of a beer bottle, the shape, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, that says we're about to get out the snow skis and see if we can ski off the roof into the Walmart inflatable hot tub. That's the kind of fun that a beer bottle shape says that you are ready to have. Whereas a champagne glass shape, whether you're drinking sparkling grape juice or champagne, that doesn't say Walmart inflatable hot tub, does it? No, it says we're ready to dress up, have some elegant conversation, toast to life, think about, exciting things, and just have nice conversations. The shape of the glass signals to the people who you are partying with what type of fun you are there to have. So if you're doing dry January, just bring the right shape glass or bottle and you're fine. That's why those liquid death drinks, I think, are so popular, because the can is very hardcore looking. Mm-hmm. Like if you haven't seen it, just Google liquid death. A lot of the podcasters who make money and are successful and get more than 7 views on YouTube, they get promos with liquid death. And I think it's because the can shape says, I'm ready to tear it up. Sure enough, when I've been I'll show up at a block party with a can of liquid death, and there is this vibe of all right, Jen's ready to have a wild night. Whereas I'm telling you, if I brought some little water bottle, like a grocery store brand water bottle, it's like, wow, Jen's broke and not fun. That's the shape of the container tells the people around you what type of fun you are ready to have. So dry January or any period of sobriety can actually go really smoothly if you just put your non-alcoholic drinks in the right shaped containers. Watch how that changes your life. Watch how it makes sobriety so much easier. Hit the "How is this podcast free?" button. The practical tips.
Very practical.
No nonsense tips that have no relevance to your actual life. It's just constant flow of goodness over here. And then the final thing you'll find and speaking to my fellow alcohol superfans here is you will be shocked how much you really don't need it and actually have more fun without it. I mean, alcohol does have a nice numbing effect, but you'll find you're just wittier, you're more engaged, you don't have to worry about saying stupid stuff. So basically, I really encourage you to try sobriety, even if, like me, it is intermittent sobriety. Get that book, 30-Day Sobriety Solution, and get the right shaped glasses. It will make all the difference. Ironically, now is the time to invest in some really nice alcohol type glasses when you're sober. When you're actually drinking, you don't need it quite as much, but when you're sober is the time to get it. Oh, final tip on that. One time, a couple of friends of ours were over, and this was during when I was doing the 30-day sobriety thing, which led to my year of sobriety. So this was during the year of sobriety, and we had this wonderful couple over. She's actually a stylist. You can look up Megan Ashley Styling. She's on Instagram, and she has an email list where she does fashion tips. It's great. She's like faith-based fashion tips. So she's this good, faithful, church-going woman who is also beautiful and into style, just a lovely human being. So she and her also just church-going, faithful, good husband came over, and I didn't want to make an announcement about not drinking, so I did my thing where I got some Froofy special artisan lemonade from the overpriced section of our grocery store, and I got a martini glass, and I just poured it in there, so it looked like I was drinking a lemon drop. And it was this beautiful moment of realizing that it is really mostly about the glass shape. I really did not miss the fact that it wasn't a lemon drop martini. And in fact, I could relish the fact that great, now I'm not going to have a headache. I'll sleep really well tonight. I won't wake up dragging the next day. This is amazing. And just in that beautiful, joyful state, I had 6 of those glasses of what I knew was lemonade, but I was pouring it in a part of the kitchen where they couldn't see it. And as they left, there was a little bit of, not tension, but just some question marks in the air. And I realized they think that they just watched me down 6 martinis. They were probably like, Jen has the tolerance of an ox. This is incredible. So, I don't know if that advocates, if that skews towards you do or don't want to tell your friends that you're not drinking. You could just make them think that you have an incredible tolerance. So, another thing, by the way, final tip, there have been a couple times when I was in New York, I had some business type meetings that looking back, I didn't need to do this, but I felt self-conscious about not drinking because I was meeting a couple people that our love of alcohol was literally the only thing we had in common. And it was like a one-on-one meeting. And so I arrived early. I got to the bartender. I ordered just soda water with some lime, and it kind of looked like a gin and tonic. I left an enormous tip, and I said, listen, I'm trying not to make a big announcement that I'm not drinking. I'm not trying to hide it, but I just don't want to make an announcement. So when I ask for another one, can you just give me this and will not acknowledge what I'm drinking? And the bartender was like, I see this all the time. Sober people come here all the time. Totally happy to help with that. And also it's nice when you're sober and drinking a 50-cent drink or $1 drink, tip a little extra, like tip as if you were drinking the $8 drink. Okay. That's my final tip on sobriety.